Hello everyone, this is Diane. Blessings. I'm a psychic clairvoyant medium, and I'm asked many questions by a lot of many different people that I give my readings to, the people that take my psychic development classes, and just the people on Facebook and the people that go to my website ask me all kind of spiritual or psychic questions. So I thought I would answer one of the questions today, and that is, how do you know if you have raised your consciousness and you're in higher dimensional being and thinking and feeling? Now, one of the ways that you would know if you're in higher dimensional feeling is that you want to engage in service to others. So instead of always thinking of what is best for yourself, you'll want to think what is best for others. So if there is, for instance, information that you feel that needs to be out to others, you would want to share that information with others. You know, even if it's not personally going to do you any good, you would feel like you want to raise others' consciousness, so you would want to share that with others. So your goal would be to help others in any way you can and as much as you can. If it's like what I'm doing here, doing videos, if it's doing readings for people, if it's giving classes to people, you know, if it's spreading information to people, this would be one way. So you would be thinking more about, you know, the planet, all the people, the animals. You know, you would be looking at the bigger picture. You wouldn't just be thinking in a 3D way just about yourself. You'd be thinking about how you could also help others. And you'd be doing this every day because you'd have, this is how I am. So I think about how I can help others, you know, every single day, and not just thinking about myself. Now, there's many other aspects to this. One is to have a higher integrity. So this is something I also do. I practice every day, and I do, especially in my readings. I want to have high integrity. I really, in my readings, I really want to help people. So I give them information that helps them, not just to tell them their future or to tell them if they're going to change careers or if they're going to move. But I also want to talk to them about any blocks they may have and what's going to stop their progress, because I deeply care about people, so I deeply want to help them. So, of course, this is my passion, is helping other people. Not everyone has it to the extent I do, but in whatever way a person, you know, this can manifest for a person, they can engage in helping others. So integrity would be having high integrity, and this means if you say you're going to do something for somebody, then you follow through and you do this for someone. You know, the other aspect would be always telling the truth. You know, you can't lie in higher dimensions, so you need to always be honest and tell the truth about everything. And this I realize that a lot of 3D jobs, this isn't very, you know, cohesive with 3D jobs, but people can make an effort to be in 3D and still always tell the truth. And it's especially important in your personal relationships. So to be honest with everyone, to be upfront with everyone, and to tell the truth all the time. And this is, I can't even stress how much this is, how important this is, because if you're not honest with yourself, then you cannot be honest with others. And this is part of being in the higher dimensions, is breaking out of the illusion of 3D and the programming of 3D. Now, how do you break out of the programming of 3D? You would start aligning with the truth. This was my journey that I started. Actually, you know, this started with me since childhood, because I've always been different from others. I've always been interested in the truth of situations since childhood. And being a psychic, of course, I've had many childhood psychic experiences, even as a child. So I knew that there was other dimensions and other realities, even as a child. But this really, started for me back in 2000. And this is when the shift started for many of us, the dimensional shift. And I found in 2000 I could no longer do or be how I was before, because I wasn't fully into the higher dimensional worlds. I was still partly in the 3D world. So around 2000 is when I started leaving the 3D world, and I started searching for the truth. And I've spent every day for the past 14 years working on this. And I did all the inner work on myself. This is the other thing that it takes to be in the higher dimension, to do all the inner work on yourself and align yourself with God and Jesus and the Creator, if you want to call it Creator, that's fine. The source energy, higher dimensional aspects of yourself. And this is very important, because you really can't be in higher dimensions if you're still going through lower dimensional attitudes and emotions. And some lower dimensional attitude emotions would be anger, jealousy, violence, fighting with people, competitiveness with other people. In the higher dimensions, there really is room for everyone and everything, and there is no room for these. So this is, it's okay to be angry, but this needs to be moved past fast. The other thing is victimhood. You don't want to get stuck in thinking that you're the victim all the time. So let's say you have a situation with your friends or your family, and then you talk about it as if you're the victim. This is really not higher dimensional thinking. So we need to move out of this, especially victim thinking, and go into self-empowerment. And this is of the higher dimensions, to be self-empowered. And this is something I also teach in my classes, is how to be self-empowered. And this is when you really start to make progress, is when you're empowered in yourself, and no one has the power to take your mood down, or to get depressed, or to feel bad about yourself, or to feel bad about others. This is when you've really made a lot of progress. So now, a lot of people don't realize that there's higher dimensions that we're moving into now, and many of us have moved beyond the 5th dimension in our consciousness. Our 3D bodies are still in 3D, but our consciousness has moved out of the third dimension. And there are lower dimensions, and this is where the lower dimensional beings are making their way up and making their way into the higher dimensions. And you don't want to get trapped in lower dimensional thinking, and that is exactly what I was talking about. So this would be watching violent movies, being angry, having fights with people, having confrontations with people, on a regular basis. It's okay to be angry with people, like I said, but this needs to be moved through fairly quickly, so that nobody's in a lower dimensional state. The other way that you'll know if you're in the higher dimensions is by having psychic experiences. Psychic experiences could include seeing things from other dimensions, hearing things from other dimensions. Everybody is becoming more psychic. So some of us who are born psychic have had it all our lives. But for the people that haven't experienced this, they may be having many psychic experiences. So they may be able to tune into people easier. Their intuition will become stronger, you know, and this can be capitalized because everybody can now have an easier time with the ascension of becoming more psychic than they could in the past. Now it's easier for everyone to become more psychic. And this is what the higher dimensions are about. So you may, you know, see things, you may experience things, you may be thrown into other dimensions, as I have been. You may see ETs, you may see UFOs, you know. I have been visited by many different races of our star family, and those of you who follow me know about this because I've talked a little bit about it, but I'll make more videos on this coming up. You do not need to go outside and at night and look, you know, look into the sky for the star family. UFOs are all over during the day. I've seen many during the day. Most of what I've seen is in the day, including the huge mothership that I saw back in 2000. But since then, I've seen many, many, many UFOs and been visited by many of our star family right in my own house. So you don't need to go outside. It's all your level of consciousness. And these beings that I've seen are from other dimensions, and they're interdimensional, which means they can manifest in our dimension and manifest in their own dimension. And this is what this means. This is what it means to be interdimensional. So this is also one of the ways you would know if you're raising your consciousness, is if you see beings and you see UFOs from other dimensions, because the only way to see these is to raise your consciousness if you see them on a regular basis, as I do. Now, when you come out of three-dimensional thinking, you're not thinking so much as survival, because this is more 3D thinking. You're thinking about how to align with their creator. How can you align with the creator every day? And so this is more your goal, is to be guided by the universe, which is what I do. Every day I'm looking for guidance from the universe, and I let the universe guide me completely, almost completely. And this is the way of the higher dimensions. So, survival is more of a 3D aspect. So we all need to survive, but then there's the other aspect in there of also letting the universe guide you in everything you do and being in tune with the universe. And this is where it comes in, where you're blending your survival with the higher dimensions. And so it's just not, being involved in 3D and worrying about so much about the 3D dimension. Because when you let the universe guide you, then you're attracting, then you have, you can attract everything in the universe. You're not limited. You're merging with the universe, and this has unlimited potential. So you're opening up yourself to the universal consciousness, which is not limited by anything. Now, there are so many things that can happen when you move into higher consciousness. It's really hard for me to list them all, but some other of the things that can happen is you will have increased synchronicities in your life, and things will seem to work out, in a magically, like, whatever needs to happen will happen, and you could look at it as like little miracles from God. And some of the other things, that I've had happen also are instant manifestations, and also really increased psychic powers. I've already been psychic, but a huge increase in that, going into other things that can happen, and that goes along with instant manifestation, which I will talk about on my next video. I will get into more detail about exactly what I'm talking about there. Okay, and then also like telepathic communication, communication with animals, being able to telepathically hear them, what they want, and hear what they're saying, and you know, all these things I have had happen, and I have them happen on a regular basis to me every day. Telepathic communication with other people. Of course, this goes along with being psychic, you know, and more people will also get this. You know, long times of bliss, moments of bliss that go on and on, maybe for days on end. Also being able to feel the downloads, which I've been reporting the downloads that come in for 2 or 3 years now. Every time a download comes in, I've reported it. I don't report them as much anymore because they've just been so many over the years. I've kind of moved away from reporting them, but I used to report them constantly. And also allergies and sensitivities to people. A lot of allergies in the past year or so kicking in for me and a lot of other people. And I've become very allergic to a lot of foods and medicines and other things. So this all goes along with it.